everybody. Welcome to Ammy's Jukebox Storytime. I read stories to my grandchildren in Maine. They're not on yet, but they should be on soon. Nobody's on, so I'm just sitting here talking to myself. The three books I'm going to read today, I got Little Golden Books. I got Corky's Hiccups. I got Mickey Mouse and the Best Neighbor Contest. My other phone's not. This phone. The camera's not as good as my other one. So and MGM's Tom and Jerry's Party. I'll just sit here and wait for someone to jump on. If you don't know, this is Sheila. She is my jester stick. I found her sad and lonely laying behind a KOA campground. Cabin. That's it. Just waiting. Just waiting. I'd like to do three books. It gives my grandchildren's parents time to have a little break. I'm hoping that's them. Jacob, if that's you, can you just send me like a quick message so I know I can start reading that the kids are watching? Or whoever that is, you may say hi. Just wait a second. These books are old too. This one's from, and they're like brand new. 1955. This one's from 1955. This is old as old as my mother. This one is from 1977. And nope, off. It's not my grandkids. Oh well. Well, I don't know what to do then. Hold on, just sit here with me so I can check to see if Jacob had gotten the message yet. Just sitting here waiting. Some of my ginger ale. All right, well, I'm going to start reading anyway, and then they can watch this after if he goes on or whatever. We're going to do this one, Corky's Hiccups. Just read to myself. By Nicolette Meredith Stack, illustrated by Tom O'Sullivan. Corky had the hiccups. David was worried. I'll have to take you to the doctor, he said. Just then, David's friend John rode up on his bike. What's wrong, he asked. Corky hiccuped. Oh, hiccup, said John. Dr. Stirrup, the animal doctor, will know what to do. David said hopefully. Come on with us, John. I'm hoping that one person is the grandkids. Delilah, Daisy, and Denver, is that you? John rode his bike. David walked. Corky ran along beside them, hiccuping. Hick, at Dr. Stirrup's house. David stretched to reach the doorbell. He rang, but nobody came to the door. Nobody's home, David said. Corky hiccuped. What shall we do now? Asked John. I guess we'll just have to sit on the curbstone and wait, said David. Hick, said Corky, and he sat down too. When Mrs. Butterfield came by, she asked, What are you doing here, boys? Corky has the hiccups, answered David. We're waiting for the doctor, said John. I forget they're watching from a big TV, so it's pretty big. Why, hiccups are easy to cure, Mrs. Butterfield said. Hold your hand tight over Corky's ears. When he swallows, the hiccups will be gone. But Corky wouldn't even let David touch his ears. Hick, he said, and he shook his head. Arf. What's the matter with Corky, boys? Asked Judge Tewksbury on his way to court. He has hiccups, David said sadly. They won't go away, added John. A dog without hiccups? Mercy me, said the judge. Give him 9 swallows of water and keep him quiet. That will do the job. Mr. Benjamin, the grocer next door, gave David some water in a pan. Corky was thirsty and drank every drop. Then David held Corky's collar to keep him quiet. Good, David said to John. Those old hiccups are all gone. Just then, Mr. Benjamin's black cat came out of the door. Oh, watch what happens now, said John. Hold on, Sheila. Okay, Sheila's good. David reached for Corky, but before David could stop him, Corky was after the cat. Arf, arf, barked Corky. Meow, said the cat, and he ran up a tree. Back came Corky, tail wagging, head up. Hick, he said, hick, hick. Oh no, David said. Not again, said John. Try Mr. Benjamin said. I've heard it cures hiccups. He scooped some sugar into the paper sack and gave the sack to David. You'll like this, Corky, said John. David poured the sugar onto the sidewalk. Here, boy, he said. Here. Arf, arf, said Corky. He licked up the sugar so fast that David and John could hardly see his red tongue flicking in and out. That's all. There isn't any more, said David as he blew into the empty sack until it was full of air. It did cure his hiccups, didn't it, John? Hick, said Corky. Hick. Oh, no, not again, said David. He puffed the last big puff of air into the paper sack. Then he held the top of the sack shut and hit it hard. Bang! Arf, said Corky, frightened. Arf, arf, arf. He put his tail between his legs and ran around and round. Look at him go, said John. Mr. Benjamin ran out of his store. Who fired that gun? He cried. A policeman roared up on his motorcycle. What's going on? He demanded. A car stopped at the curb. It was Dr. Stirrups. What's all the hullabaloo about? He wanted to know. I just popped a paper sack, said David. Corky has the hiccups, and you weren't home. Mrs. Butterfield told us to hold his ears. Judge Tewksbury said to give him 9 swallows of water and keep him quiet. Mr. Benjamin gave us sugar in a paper sack. The back's starting to hurt. Hold on. It all sounds strange to me, the policeman said, but no harm's been done that I can see. Off he roared on his motorcycle. Arf, arf, barked Corky. You say Corky has hiccups? Asked Dr. Stirrup. I didn't hear anything, but arf, arf. Corky had the hiccups, David said, laughing. Something must have cured them. Why, I think I cured them myself when I popped that sack. A pop like that will do it every time, every time, David, said Dr. Stirrup. Yes, sirree, said John. He jumped on his bike. Thanks, Dr. Stirrup, said David. Come, Corky. Come on, boy, we'll go home. Arf, said Corky. Arf, and he wagged his tail happily. All right, we'll do Mickey Mouse and the Best Neighbor contest. This one used to belong to a little boy named Josh. This book is from 1977, so if anybody ever watches and there's a little boy Josh and you recognize that signature, I have your book. One midsummer day, Mickey Mouse called all his friends to a special meeting. Minnie Mouse, Goofy, and Mickey's nephews, Morty and Ferdy, were there, along with Donald Duck and his nephews. Friends, Mickey began, it's a long, hot summer, and I think we're all in a slump. Just like a losing baseball team. We'll have to do something to stir things up. Minnie Mouse nodded. You're right, Mickey, but what? Have you any ideas? Yes, he answered. We'll have a contest. Everybody brightened. What kind of contest? Donald Duck asked. A best neighbor contest, Mickey replied. Each of us must think of something to do to help everybody enjoy summertime. I'll be the judge, and the best neighbor will win a silver loving cup. Sheila. Come on, Sheila. I'm trying to read a book. Everybody brightened. What kind of contest? Oh no, I already read that. Hold on. Should I do pictures? Okay, next one. Pet show. I think it might be backwards, but. They all started shouting excitedly. I'll run a pet show, Minnie decided, recalling all the different kinds of pets her friend owned. We'll open a lemonade stand, Morty yelled. Right, agreed Ferdy. Free ice cold lemonade for everybody. I'll get my big balloon ready, Donald cried. I'll give everyone free rides. Then Donald's nephews offered their playground equipment for the children. They can use our seesaw, said Huey. And our swing, said Dewey. And our slide, added Louie. Those are all great ideas, Mickey said. What about you, Goofy? What's your idea for the best neighbor contest? Shucks, I don't know, Goofy answered, but I'll try to think of something. With a faraway look in his eyes, he turned and walked off towards his house. The Best Neighbor contest soon opened and it ran for a whole week. Everybody in town came and then came back again and again to enjoy the fun. Mickey made his rounds every day, keeping an eye on things so he could decide fairly who should win the Best Neighbor prize. At Minnie's pet show, Goofy was saying hello to a turtle, a skunk, and a hamster when Mickey came along. Wow, Mickey, Goofy said enviously. Minnie sure had a swell idea for the contest. I wish I could have thought of something to do for everyone. At Morty and Ferdy's lemonade stand, Goofy looked wistfully at the row of ice-cold pitchers as he smacked his lips over his own tall glass of the drink. These kids are being real nice to their neighbors, he said. Everyone loves lemonade. Later at Donald's balloon ride, Mickey watched as Goofy floated across the field in the basket of the balloon and landed gently and safely. Donald's ride is terrific, Goofy said longingly. But me, I couldn't come up with a single thing. At the playground, the neighborhood children were shouting with glee as they seesawed, swung, and slid. Goofy standing at the bottom of the slide to catch the littlest children as they came down. Thought, Huey, Dewey, and Louie sure have some fun stuff here. Why couldn't I think of anything to do for the Best Neighbor contest? On Friday night, the contest ended, and on Saturday, Mickey invited all his friends to a hot dog party on his front lawn. I'm going to award the prize for the Best Neighbor contest, he announced. But all of you have been so great. I haven't yet made up my mind who the winner is. First, I want to compliment each of you on your great work. Minnie, your pet show went off without a hitch. How did you manage with so many different pets? Not one pet got lost or ran away. That's because Goofy looked after them. Minnie replied, he was wonderful. He took personal charge of every single pet. Mickey turned to Morty and Ferdy. Boys, I'm proud of all the hard work you did. It must have been a tough job to squeeze all those lemons. No, Morty explained. Goofy came early and did most of the squeezing just to help us out. Next, Mickey spoke to Donald Duck. Donald, he said, you were pretty clever to fill that balloon with air and keep it filled. Don't give me the credit, Donald said. Goofy checked it every day, then pumped every night to keep the balloon filled with air. Then Mickey spoke to Donald's nephews. Boys, the way you ran your playground was perfect. Everybody had fun without getting hurt. It was Goofy, exclaimed Huey. He kept an eye on the children all day, added Dewey. That's why nobody got hurt, said Louie. Just in case I didn't do it. Mickey thought for a minute. Friends, he said, finally, this is really heartwarming. I think you'll all agree that the only one of you who said he couldn't think of an idea has turned out to be the best neighbor of all. I mean, Goofy, of course, the one who has helped everyone the most. Goofy wins the silver loving cup. Everybody cheered. Hooray, Goofy is our best neighbor. But when they turned to look for the winner, he wasn't there. They searched and finally found him working at the barbecue grill, roasting hot dogs for the whole crowd. How about that, Goofy, said Mickey. Even though the contest is over, he's still being everybody's best neighbor. Hot dogs coming up, called Goofy with a big neighborly smile. All right, one more book. Tom MGM's. I'm just going to leave Sheila down. She's ready for bed, I guess. It's going to break Cass because it's going to belong to me. MGM's Tom and Jerry Party. Oh, I don't think I said it was. Okay. Told by Steffi Fletcher. Pictures by MGM Cartoons adapted by Harvey Eisenberg and Samuel Armstrong. It's a violin, look. It was Cook's night out. She buttoned on her coat and put on her good black hat. She threw one last look around the kitchen. Everything was spick and span. Everything was in its place, she thought. Cook hadn't noticed that the icebox door was open, but Tomcat had. This is the night for a party, he chuckled. As soon as Cook had left, he brought out cupcakes and cream from the icebox. When the food was ready, Tom scrambled up to a pantry shelf. He brought down streamers left over from a New Year's Eve party. Humming gaily, Tom decorated the kitchen. Now to hand out invitations, he said when he had finished. Quickly, Tomcat ran out into the dark night and down to the house of the fiddler. Fiddler cat, he called. I'm having a party. Come and bring your fiddle. From the house of the fiddler cat, Tom ran onto the house of Yellow Melisande. From the house of Melisande, he ran onto the houses of all his friends. By the time Tomcat turned back home, 6 happy cats were trotting along behind him. Soon the party was in full swing. The fiddler cat played the fiddle. Yellow Melisande stood beside him and sang, a cat's life is a life for me, she sang. Meow, meow, it's wild and free. The other cats danced to the music and cast hungry looks at the cupcakes. Somebody else was watching the cupcakes too. Jerry and Tuffy stood at the door of their mouse hole. Look at all that food, Tuffy, Jerry said hungrily. Let's go get some of it. As softly as could be, they skittered up onto the table and pounced on the cupcakes. Hey, Tomcat cried. Thieves, thieves, stop them, stop them. Just then they heard heavy steps coming toward the kitchen. It's Cook, Tomcat whispered. She's back early. Jerry leaped off the table. He ran to Tom and pulled at his paw. The cats whisked the cupcakes and cream off the table, pushing and pulling. Jerry and Tuffy squeezed them through the mouse hole door. The footsteps came nearer and nearer. Tom flew around the kitchen. The bunting, he cried. Take down the bunting. Cook started to open the door. The fiddler cat dove into the wastebasket. Yellow Melisande leaped into the washing machine. A third cat squeezed herself behind the door, and 2 little kittens hid trembling in the market basket. When Cook came in, there was only Tom lying sleepily under the kitchen table. Land's sake, said Cook, I thought I heard a noise. Must have been my imagination. And with a shake of her head, she left again. Coast clear, whistled Jerry. The cats came creeping out of their hiding places. Ahem, said Tom to Jerry. I suppose now you intend to keep all those cupcakes. Jerry threw out his chest and looked noble. Certainly not, he answered. Who am I to spoil a party? Behind his paw, he whispered to Tuffy, we couldn't have eaten all those cakes alone anyway. So the party started again, gayer than ever. The fiddler cat played, Melisande sang, and in the middle of the floor danced Jerry and Tuffy, each with a big crumb of cake in his paw. The end. All right, guys. Thanks for coming to Ammy's Jukebox story time. I love you guys, and be good for your mom and dad. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Oh, I'm still, yep. I'm getting off. All right.